Director General of the Liberia Institute of Statistics and Geo-Information Services, Mr. Wilmot Smith. And of course, I'm sure you're quite aware that this interview is about the upcoming National Housing and Population Census, slated for October the 24th this year. And well, let me first tell you that the interview will be simulcast on other radio stations, including FM, Freedom FM, Prime FM, Bannon FM, Cool FM, among others. And so we brought some top notch. I'm sure you've been hearing them on other radio stations. Top notch interviewers in presence of my good friend and brother Abraham Gossam. Abraham, good morning.
Good morning, sir. Good.
Let me open your microphone quickly. Good morning, Abraham.
Yeah, good morning, sir.
And also, I'm sure we'll have Kelvin Demi. Kevin from Prime FM. Good morning.
Good morning. My pleasure being here, Sober.
And of course, we have Oliver Khan. Oliver, good morning.
Good morning, Sober, and good morning to the folks listening.
Okay, we are still expecting Julius Jer, this program. Julius Jer of Orchid FM. We're still expecting him. But like I said, this program will be simulcast in all the radio stations. And of course, we have the Acting Director General of Lesgis, let me just call it short so that you know, Mr. Wilmot Smith. Let's welcome him officially. Mr. Smith, welcome to the program.
Good morning, Saba. Good morning to the rest of the panelists. Good morning to the Liberian populace. It's good being here to discuss the single largest, biggest project in the country. As a matter of fact, it's going down history as Liberia's first digital census, the National Population Housing Census. Good morning to you, Liberian people. Don't be left out. Let's shape your future, be counted.
That's good. So let me just get the ball rolling, since that I'm the host. You all came to my house, and so let me get the ball rolling. You all are all strangers and visitors. Abraham will laugh. So, Mr. Smith, where are we regarding the preparation for the conduct of this year's National Housing and Population Census?
Thank you again. I didn't listen to the census song. I don't know. I'm sure you have the jingle along the lines. I will appreciate, hearing that so our people can get the message as well. Saba, as you know, as you may be aware, the National Legislature passed a joint resolution setting the census date for October 24th to November 7th, which was the proclamation was issued by His Excellency President George Manawiya. And so the census date is now set for October 24th to November 7th, beginning with the census night that is going to be around October 23rd. And so, the census is not an overnight thing. Having a date is one thing, but there are a lot of preliminary activities leading to the main enumeration. October 24th to the 27th is the main enumeration exercise. Okay, it's when we're going to deploy over 17,000 enumerators across the country to go about doing the enumeration, checking our people. But before that, there are a lot of preliminary activities, like I said. So I'd like to provide you updates on our state of preparedness for the National Population Housing Center.
Now, before you tell us about the activities, that's supposed to be, taking place ahead of the official date, tell us, for the benefit of our people, especially those in rural and urban, what is census? When we talk about national housing, census and all of that, what is census?
So I know across the country our people are listening, so we have to convey the message in a way that all of our people can understand and appreciate.
Sure.
And so the census is an activity, it's one big exercise. Exercise that leads to development planning. The exercise that helps the government, the development partners, the academician to understand what is lacking, what is needed, what needs to be done, and what needs to be improved upon. And so the census takes into consideration how many human beings we got in the country, the kind of generation, the age population, what the age is, how many persons, are working in the country. They also take into consideration the businesses, how many health centers we have in the country, how many recreational centers, where do we have schools, where are the administrative and boundaries across the country. And so with all of this information, government now can look at the information, because the information will be processed at the end of the census. So when that information is processed now, it is reported to the government and the international community. It is that information we will use for development planning, to understand the inflation rate, to talk about how we can rebase our GDP, to see how we can expound our borrowing envelope. So you see how the census is the biggest project, because it covers all of the activity, whether you have access to drinking water, safe drinking water, public latrine, electricity, and so on and so forth.
Okay. Gentlemen.
Well, again, we'd like to say good morning and thanks for the show. I'm interested in the kickstart of the project or the process, specifically with the enumerators. Have we the number of persons we want for the conduct of the process? If yes, how did we get the number of persons? I'm not very sure. There was a lot of publicity on the recruitment for enumerators exercise. A lot of persons are concerned out there.
Let me bring you greetings on behalf of Professor Francis Ray, who happens to be the Director General, who hasn't been well and is recovering at a very fast speed. Who have also asked me to convey his message and sentiments to the Liberian people. Kevin, very good question. So yes, you followed the application process. We opened an application process for over a month, and that process came to an end, and that was in April of this year, and we extended the process from August 7 to August 14 of this year, so that we could have additional persons applying. Because the whole idea about the recruitment is to recruit the very best. And I like to encourage, thank all those who apply. The information coming in looks good. Those that apply based on their credential and experience, because we need to recruit the very best. We're talking about collecting quality data that will inform decision making. And so if we don't have our very best going into the field as enumerators, as a matter of fact, we are going digital. People must understand how to use the software. People must be technological savvy. If we don't have this kind of expertise, we're going to have a problem on the field. And so we encourage well-meaning librarians, university students, college graduates to make use of the opportunity. And so that process ended. We had over 40,000 applicants plus more, and what we did now is to begin the master training exercise. We had a master training exercise where we took in 110 persons, professional persons, and we brought subject matter experts to train them on the manual, because they intend are going to train the trainers or trainer. And so that exercise ended, and we're able to recruit 40 out of the 110. So you see how rigorous the process is. Having done that, a few days ago, we launched the TOT, that is the Trainers of Trainer workshop that is moving right now across the country. We divided into 6 regions. We were able to recruit another 592 persons. These people have been trained across the region. And so Liberia has 15 counties. And so we divided the country into 6 regions. It should be 5 regions, but we say 6 because of the landscape of Monserrado and the population. And so Monserrado has 2 training centers. We have Greater Monrovia and Rural Monserrado. So Rural Monserrado, Magibi, and Grand Bassa is 1 region. That training is being held in Kakata right now as I speak to you. It's ongoing. Bapulu, Cape Mount, and Bomi is another region. Lofa, Bong, Nima, another region, is happening in Bong County right now. The other one is happening in Bomi. Another one is taking place in Maryland, that is the Grand Gila, Maryland, and River G. Riverside, Sando, and Grenku, one region. And after that process, Kevin, at the end of today, we are expected to release over 17,000 qualified applicants for the main enumeration exercise. And so what that means is that after the TOT, we'll now be beginning the enumeration training. So those who have been trained, normally when we conducting training, if we need 592 persons, for example, we do maybe a little over 650 persons. So that we give an aptitude test at the end of the training, and those who come out high are the ones we go about selecting. And so at the end of this exercise, the very best will be selected out of the process. Those 592 persons will be the trainer of trainer. These are the people who will be sent across. As a matter of fact, we've divided the country into 142 districts. We have 142 training sites across the country. So these are the people who are going to be providing the training for the over 17,000 persons. At the end of that training, it's expected that over 13,803 persons will be serving as enumerators, and over 2,560 persons will be serving as supervisors. And because we are interested in quality assurance, those who are going to serve as TOT now for the enumeration training will automatically qualify as supervisor for the main enumeration. So if we are looking for 2,560 persons, you're going to be subtracting 592 automatically from that number, and then the rest of the number will be identified from the training. So nobody goes to the training as supervisor. Everyone is going there as enumerator. At the end of the training, there's an aptitude test given. Those with high school will be considered as supervisor. And we will also have 163 district officers. We're going to be recruiting there as well. They are going to be ensuring that hard to reach areas. As a matter of fact, we conducted a pre-test over a year ago. And so we got a lot of positive feedback in terms of accessibility and inaccessibility, in terms of low response from certain quarter, in terms of area where they have border and boundary dispute. So we conducted a pre-test to be able to get this feedback to mitigate the risks ahead of the main enumeration. And so we already have those raw data. And so we will be assigning those 163 district officers as the quality assurance officer, making sure that the enumerators reach to the hard to reach areas, and that these people are enumerated and the data is captured.
Just a follow up to that. The over 17,000 persons and more, are they residents of the different political subdivisions?
Yes, across the country. Across the country.
Okay.
Because the census is something that has to do with national ownership. And so people who are known, people who are influential. I mean, this is not a government alone project. This is a Liberian people project. And so even we've had stakeholder engagement with the Liberian National Student Union, the PUL, the National Imam Council of Liberia, the Liberian Council of Churches, the political parties, the civil society movement, because each of these groupings have constituents. They have their own constituencies. There are people who listen to them. And so credibility is part of this process. And so if, for example, the chairman or the political leader of the Coalition of Democratic Change is speaking to the partisans, it's clear that they will believe and listen. The same with the ANC, the Liberty Party, or the Unity Party. If the president of the Liberal Council of Churches is being seen as a dissemination ambassador for the census, of course the churches across the country will take interest in that. The National Imam Council, you know there's an Imam Council headed by Imam Krahi. If he's making that announcement, it's going to go to all of the mosques. And so, yes, we took into consideration that the local content is key in development process and development planning, and so we took that into consideration. That is why even when on the form, the application form, we had there 3 alternatives. You who are applying know where you have influence. I mean, you could come from Nima Kevin, for example, but you have influence in the Nigerian Sharp community. So if you went there to speak to the people, a lot of people will listen to you as compared to going to Nima, because your entire youthful life and things have been around them, you know. So these are the kind of things we're talking about. Abraham Williams, for example, you take into Grand Bassa and take into New Jersey Gulf community, you will see the difference. Going to New Jersey Gulf community, you will have that aura, a lot of people, that attraction will be there, that people will listen to you and believe in.
Okay, before you come in, Oliver, we've just been joined by our own friend and brother from Orchid FM, Julius. Julius, welcome.
Yeah, thanks so kindly, but don't make it appear like you just joined. I joined ever since.
Okay. Oliver.
Mr. Smith, we're concerned about credibility and how sincere the process was in terms of recruitment. There is this thing that has to do with people sneaking under the cover, recommending names, even though most of these people are not qualified. You know that they would not be able to do the job correctly. How independent was the recruitment process?
Well, all of our processes have been independent. As a matter of fact, we are working with the partners. We are working with the bank. We are working with the UNFPA. We are working with our partners. We have joint technical meeting, partnership meeting, and decisions are reached from there and approved before actions are taken.
Mm-hmm.
So the selection process, there's a committee. UNFPA is on that committee. A representation of the bank is on that committee. Lydia is part of that committee. Of course, Lydia is the owner of the project, so Lydia chairs all of the committee. But it is an independent committee with all of the actors and partners on board. And so we intend to be as independent and transparent as we can. But there are some exceptions. And those exceptions, for example, we're supposed to be going to the correction facilities. So we're going to the military barrack.
Mm-hmm.
All right?
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to the police station because there are people in prison. There are people in the police cells. Okay? You know, some of them have hostile orientation. So you will need security personnel to be involved to help ensure that you achieve that exercise. So we've also embarked on a special enumeration training, which will be starting in the coming days. We've gotten the support from the Armed Forces of Liberia. They're going to be sending over 30 persons, the police, the correction facilities, so that we train these people to move into these special EAs. Those are special EAs, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And so we will not be looking into the database for that. We'll be dealing with the people from these areas, okay? And so you can be assured that when the listing come up, as a matter of fact, this is not the first listing we are publishing. We did the geographic mapping planning exercise. We recruited people. People applied the same way, and the listing was published. And in fact, there was a need to bring additional people on board. They were brought on board. That exercise lasted for 11 months. We did a pre-test last year, December. There was a listing. People applied. There was a listing pull up. People went for training across the country. People took aptitude tests. We recruited the best. About 268 persons. We got 268 EAs were selected to do the sample census. And so that's the way we've been going. And that's how we're going to go throughout the process.
On that point, talking about pre-test and those that conducted it, I'm understanding that you sidelined almost all of those people you've already trained and all of that. There was an assurance that they will conduct the current exercise you are carrying on, but you sidelined them because they took you to court. How true is that?
Well, firstly, the process of the TOT, there were 3 factors. And one of the factors was that before the pre-test, there was a geographic mapping planning exercise. Those are the people who cover the country, the entire country, for 11 months, as compared to the pre-test. The pre-test, yes, was the entire country, but were few EAs. Okay? So we had to take these people because they have hands-on experience. They went everywhere, every district, every EA. So the support percentage there for them. There's also a percentage there for those who did the pre-test. Okay? And Legis have its own officers across the country. We have 15 county officers across Liberia. And we have our staff there, directors and staff. We have mappers. Okay? So these people automatically qualify. So those are the 3 categories. And for the pre-test, like I told you, Judas, the process has been coordinated by the UNFPA, the World Bank, and Legis. All right? Religious management is no signatory to any of the census account. The census account or the census money is being managed by two people. The basket fund is with UNFPA. The other money is with the World Bank. Okay? So, in terms of payment, in terms of any request, it has to go through these two institutions. So, Lydia doesn't write a check. And, yes, there was a contract signed by those who did the geographic mapping planning exercise. And that contract says they were to cover a certain amount of EAs. All right?
In 7 months.
No, not, yes, in 7 months. So they said, Julius, you are to cover 90 EAs. So within 7 months, if you don't complete that EA, even if you wait 11 months to complete that EA, you have to meet that tax. It's not an extra time we have to pay you for. So people did not complete their EA in time and went overboard. There are others who did their work in time, and they started to request for additional pay, that they work overtime and they should be paid. Okay? And so we felt that was this service to the process because we were transparent and open. And surprisingly, we got a citation from the court that some of our mappers are taking to go for bad labor practice. In fact, they even went on radio station. I remember that was sometimes in April, the Minister of Finance he created an emergency chat room immediately to address that. He said, what happened? The people are saying ladies owe them. And then he had to contact the PFN, the Ministry of Finance, contact all of the actors. It was established that we did not owe them.
Was it captured in the contract?
Yes, it's in
Signed
the
between
contract.
agencies?
Yeah, the amount of EAs is supposed to cover. Okay? And so they took us to court for bad labor practice. The matter is still in court. Some of these people who say we are involved in bad labor practice want to come and benefit again from this TOT. So are you convinced now that we are no longer, involved in bad? So where we are now, Julia, we don't need this.
And so you are sidelining them because of
No, we are not sidelining them. There's a matter in court. We have to resolve that matter.
so until it is resolved.
Yeah, we are not sidelining.
So I'm concerned about, the monitoring process, because you said some of the guys who did the mapping went over time. Were there not measures in place to have supervisors to say, hey, this is where you have to go in a particular space? Because from the way you're saying it, it's like there were no, MAE.
There were supervisors in place.
Uh-huh.
That's where leadership comes in kind.
Okay.
You've trained these people for several months. People went for training twice in Magibi.
Mm-hmm.
Deploy them, okay? And they are in the field now, and they've gone 3-4 months, and some of them have started to renege on their responsibility. You cannot pull them out of the process because you don't have the time to go and train new people. The process is already on, so you have to demonstrate leadership. So there were supervisors. There are always supervisors. Mm-hmm. And the supervisors were reporting those issues. So from the management perspective, they had to complete their tasks. We could not record them. And so having completed the task, they now started saying they needed additional 2 months pay. And from the agreement, from what is being said, from our lawyers, that was not possible. They were only completing their tax. And so to further clarify again, maybe Julius, we are not sidelining them. You can find for that vote, then we must stay in the same bed.
So is the matter still in court?
Yeah, it's at the labor court.
Okay.
No, but even it's in court. I don't know why we are even discussing it.
Yeah,
Okay,
I mean, because it's sub judice.
Yeah, that's why. Just very
The
much.
legal marshal said that.
Well,
Yeah.
I don't think it is on the merit of the case that we discussed.
No, he's going to the merit.
We
No,
were
just
just looking at whether they are being
Because
sidelined.
he said it was regulated. They've not been
Yeah,
sidelined.
In this case, you are stated that they are not being sidelined.
No.
He clarified that already.
Until
Yeah, and let me also tell you that over 53 of them have come. They've signed a disclaimer. They've notarized the document already. And they've sent back to the Labor Ministry. So we're making progress.
Yeah, so, okay, that's good. And, the issue about infrastructure is very much key. Those are some of the challenges that one will face, especially when it comes to census. You are going to a system that for the first time we are going to be experiencing, which talks about digital. When you talk about digital, others will be contemplating, thinking that we'll talk about internet facilities and so forth here and there. Are there mechanisms put in place? Just to explain to the public, for the sake of the public, whether where there are internet or no internet, the kind of equipment you have can cover the entire Liberia in terms of this entire project?
Thank you very much. Very good question. And we put it in our all. We recruited some of the best experts. As a matter of fact, right now the chief technical advisor, Dr. Bolaji Tao, is the man who did the working Rwanda that today we all are proud of in 2012. He's here with us. But even before he came, like I told you, we did the pre-test, we've done another analysis, and we know about the connectivity issue in our country. So we brought in an offline application software. So whether there's an internet or no internet, the data will be captured. All right, it will be captured and stored. And so on top of that, in recent time, the World Bank team was here. They just left yesterday. The mission team was here, and as a backup plan, even though the offline application software, they also recommended, and we passed on that, to get over 17,000 SIM cards and have them synchronized. And so that has been done as well. So there is a plan A and plan B.
So are you going to facilitate these enumerators in all the hard-to-reach areas?
All they had to
In 1 million, you are going to facilitate them. Some of them going by foot because there are areas that they got to go by foot.
So we're going to provide transportation for them, motorbike transportation throughout the district.
So they're going to have the cash in possession.
Of course.
Now, so how do you monitor the effective? Because the issue of a corruption where people sit in their offices or sit home and then just imaginary populations just key it in through those data and things. How do you track that to know the efficiency?
Well, that's why I told you we are recruiting 163 persons as monitor to go to the hard-to-reach areas. All right. We got supervisors. Each team of 5 has a supervisor, and of course we're going to have a monitoring officer. So you got 142 sites, and then we have 163 monitors, along with the 2,500 some more supervisors. So you see the mechanism we got in place to ensure that we mitigate all of the risk factors, almost all of the risk factors.
Okay, then looking at the issue about some of the beliefs of our people, you may have done these, your pre-processes leading to the census and so forth. There are some of our beliefs that the people have, especially in the villages and towns. Why government is coming to count me for? Some people would tell them, and they're counting me because they want to use it for other purposes here and there. Some people would tell you, there are some religious beliefs that would tell you that if you count some, you can't count anybody who is still alive. Those are all different beliefs and things, and that's what the kind of sectors that you go into. How do you engage those?
So that's why we are aware of all of those, and we are not taking this project onto ourselves alone. We are going to work with the Council of Elders, the ZOO, the various superintendents. As a matter of fact, they did the official launch for the TOT across the country. They are the Vera County Dissemination Advocacy Ambassador for Religions. All of the county superintendents, all of the local leadership, we are going to be working with them. Take, for instance, the people in our traditional Poro and Sunday bush, they have to be enumerated. And so we are going to be working with the ZOO and elders. We are going to train some people, like I told you, the same with the military, too, because it's not ordinary enumerator going in there. You know, you have to be a member. And so we'll train our people so that they go there and help us get the information. And so we are working with all of the leadership. Okay?
I'm concerned about the payment plan. There is this thing where people go to work. It is very frequent with the National Elections Commission, where you'll find, polling staff after the elections, they will keep complaining. Sometimes they will want to protest before they have what is due them. We want to know if you've given your enumerators official contract, whether they're going to be signing contract sheets. That's one. Number two, what guarantee can you give that when they are done counting all of us in this country, they will not have to go banging on your doors to give them what is due them?
I can proudly say to you that Legis, if not the most singular institution of government that is executing the short opportunity employment program under the PAPD, I can tell you that we've expended over 10 million in terms of providing a short-term job for Liberians across the country over time. And those money help people to pay their school fees, put money in the people's pocket, help people pay their rent, some of them buy their land, some of them are doing businesses. And so Legis has a practice of even doing our training, for training, all those who are in the training right now, every training, they have transportation allowance first. Everyone who goes to the training, whether you are accepted at the end of the training or not, you get transportation allowance.
Okay.
So that's the first step. And then, all those that for the regional training now, if you are the host, you are not entitled to DSA. Because you can be living in Bon County and we give you DSA. So those who are coming from Lofa and Nimba, they are traveling, those are the ones that will be receiving DSA along with their transportation allowance. If you are from Bon County and the host, you will only be receiving your transportation allowance. But what we do normally, we give up to 40 to 60% of the money before you even kick off. You understand what I'm saying? So before you even kick off the exercise, we give you 50 to 60% of your money.
Okay.
And so just for the geographic mapping exercise, we spent over 3.2 million United States dollars on Liberians across the country to carry on that exercise. And they were paid in time. They got their money before they took off. They got their money for training. They got their DSA. They got their pay before 50% of their pay before the training, and they got their remaining money afterward. The same with the master trainer. They just received their money yesterday for the training exercise. And so the only issue that will be the normal financial transactional processes, where the project will have to write a request. And sometimes there's a little delay because even some of our people don't have bank account. The mobile money numbers they give are not correct. You have to verify all these things. Now, we're going to be paying over 17,000 persons through mobile money. You know what that means, Kai?
Okay.
Everyone, you have to, your name you gave us and your mobile money number. We have to verify those numbers because when it goes to the bank is just going to send the money. The bank is not going to. We've had a situation where money are sent and some people come by and say they've not received the
The
money.
actual job is going to start on the 24th. Why can't you start all of the due diligence with reference to payment plans, before the
But
start?
that's why I just explained to you. That's what we do normally.
Okay.
So, I mean, in terms of expectation, I'm saying people's expectations sometimes cannot be matched with the reality.
Okay.
The reality on the ground, we are legit have to exercise utmost due diligence. All right? We have to make sure the names were properly vetted.
Okay.
We have to make sure the numbers are there, are in your name. Okay? So you got Oliver Khan, then you get Dennis Brown on the mobile money Sunday. No, we want to make sure it is your mobile money account. So your name has to be there. Some of the numbers we get different names. So all these things has to be put in place. When it is verified, then it's sent to the PFNU. If it is a World Bank payment, all right, that for the geographic mapping planning exercise and the master training, it has been the World Bank. And so then the PFNU has their own internal audit mechanism. They have to verify those documents. If there are issues, they will query the document and send it back. But the ordinary man in the field at that time, it's not a business. All you know, he wrote his name, the number of their money.
So have you educated them
Of
so as to
course.
avoid all of that?
Of course, we do that all the time. But again, we are human. Those things happen. Our role is to ensure that we do not fall short at the end when there's an audit review, and to also ensure
A follow-up
that
to Saba's question, have you told them, because it's very important, we see this after election, after elections, we see there are lots of queues in protestation in demands of their money. Have you told them the period is going to take to have them receive their money?
So maybe when you're done in 2 weeks' time,
maybe 1 week
at
after
most.
the process, maybe 2
So,
weeks. Have you told them?
maybe you're not getting me. I'm saying to you, I just been explaining all of the processes in terms of all of the activities. But with the me enumeration, we're going to come up with the listing. Once our final listing is published between today and tomorrow, that listing will be sent to UNFPA. It's UNFPA who is going to be paying the enumerators for the main enumeration.
Okay.
So UNFPA now will begin the process, the transaction process. So before the training start, or before the end of the training, the percentage of money they're supposed to get in terms of their transportation, the ESA, and their daily money, that percentage will be available before they are deployed.
Okay.
All right? We are trying to put everything in place. The raincoats, the rain boots, the bypass, the flight lights. We are they have come to the compound. I'd like to invite all of you to come and see our state of readiness.
Okay. I am Pasolo. I'm somewhere in any of the counties. I want you to walk me through in a more simplified, bastardized Liberian English. What do you think the census will be looking like?
So the census is, we come to Pasolo Hut in the morning, but Pasolo have to know the question will come and ask not because we come and divide rice. Because that's one of the problems our people can be facing. Soon they're talking about counting and say, oh, the people come and divide something. So you got 5 persons in the hall now, then you say with 10 years. And you see that? So we come to Pasolo, how you doing? You live here? Yes. Who the owner of the hall? Who had the house? How many persons in the house? How many female? How many male? How many older persons? You know, what their ages? Who here working? Who here going to school? Right. Who here know how to use cell phone? Okay? All the other people not here are going to school. Whether they can be here, you give all that time, and we need a note with you that will be coming back. They will be called back. So we'll go to your house, and we are not able to interview everybody because they are not available. Or maybe sometimes they're not in the right frame of mind. We'll come back. We'll tell you, okay, we'll go come back. So within 10 to 12 days, those are the exercises that will be going on.
Okay, so let's go back to this payment issue because that's where bulk of the trouble can always come from. Were you able to tell all of your enumerators what they're going to be receiving? Because sometimes you just tell the people, everybody wants jobs, so people are not basically concerned as to what's in it for them.
No.
Are they aware?
Kind. If you are not aware, they wouldn't be trooping. The people know. Sometimes they even back out to not tell the public where they get in. So at Liberia, we don't have that kind of situation for people to demonstrate for pay.
Okay.
Okay? Because we always do our best to put in place mechanism that people will get their pay on time because we give people 40 to 60% of their money before they even go into the fee. So the survey from time to time varies and depend on the donor funding or the funding that is available. Sometimes we pay people $70 a day. I mean, sometimes I have to, some point like that. Sometimes we pay people $50 a day, sometimes $40 a day. Okay? So those who are the geographic mapping planners, they're making over $1,400 a month. US dollars.
Okay.
Those people, okay, who did the mapping for 11 months. So you see how we can pay very well. We pay very well.
So I was asking so that,
I'm
maybe
also,
at the end of the day...
I'm also giving the information that for the pre-test, we were paying $40 a day. Okay?
Okay.
And these people got their money, 50% of their money before they even took off. On top of their transportation and at the end, we feed them during the training. Okay? So at every training, we provide you all of the information you need to provide. You need to be told or provided. At the same time, it's stipulated in your contract. All right? We made them sign a contract. They're going to come up with ID cards and everything. So they know. And Liberia is one of the most attractive places for work.
So, Mr. Smith, the actual counting will go for how many days?
From the 24th to November 7th.
What happens, because some of our people, especially in rural Liberia, they are involved with farming activities, and you go there, you may not see the person the first day, the second day, up to the last day. What happens?
That's why we'll also be working with the local people. So the local men know that man farm. Maybe you just need motivation to carry you there. We'll find out little motivation, but we'll go to that farm. Okay? We'll go to that farm. Because after the census, there are a lot of activities coming up. The agricultural survey is also coming up. So those information will even help our team to prepare for the agricultural survey. The national economic census, the business census is also coming up. The household income and expenditure survey census is also coming. All of those things are kicked off by now, but they could not because the census exercise have not been completed. Initially, we anticipated that the census will be concluded by June 19. So that by now, these people who have been in the field, because they have to capture the national framework from the census, from the main census. They need the framework to begin their own work. And so,
All right, specifically, I just wanted to.
Yeah, I'm
Yes.
concerned on a specific aspect about an issue, a particular issue you raised concerning the days of the counting. Somebody asked a question in relations to how do you intend to do the counting process. I think I heard you say the enumerators will visit the farms. Why, if you work with the traditional chiefs and elders, for example, on the Monday, you tell the people that will come in this time and you'll stay there? Because I visited some of these places, the farms are far away, they're very far away from the
homes.
towns and villages. Do we have the capacity, the energy to visit these farms?
so you are very right. And that's one of the mechanisms we have in place. I said that we're going to be working with the traditional elders. We're going to be working with the local people. And the geographic mapping planning exercise, as well as the pre-test, provided us a lot of leeway. All right? Take, for instance, Dory, and there's an area there called Libya. Not in the forest, a lot of people don't know those places. We're able to reach to these places. We have identified those places. We're using geocodes. So we'll be tracking. And that's why we're going digital.
The follow-up to that is the enumerators, are they from the counties?
They are from across the country. Now, when you say county, that's how I'll give you an example.
So let me simplify. For example,
Because you live in the county.
yeah, are you living in there? Are you taking only people from Grange there, living in Grange there?
No, we are giving preference to people living in Grange who apply. Okay? For any event, and the numbers, the update I've gotten is that the amount of persons who apply in Grange, for example. So, for example, in Grange, we want to cover 233 EAs. And you have 220 persons applying. 200 persons applying from Grange. You know that we need to step up that number. Because not only that we need 233, we need around 300 and some more for the training, and then after the test to select the final 233. So these are the factors that are interplaying or that are going to be interplaying. But we are going to give preference to residents of the county, not just indigenous of the county, but residents. You know, you don't necessarily have to be a crown man to work in Grange or a Geo man to work in Nema. There are other Liberians who are from other counties who are very influential, who live in Nema, who do business there, who people know, you know, who went to school there, will also tap into their
But
expertise.
you're going to have questionnaires.
Yeah.
And that is where language comes in. Dialects. You got to know that.
That's why we're
So how
giving.
do you-
That's why we're giving them preference. But
Because he was just concerned about. being
there are
specific.
areas in Nema.
Geographically-
There are areas in Nema where people speak English. There are areas in Nema where people speak Mana. So a Geo man could not go to the region if he can understand Mana to talk to the Mana.
Well, you deploy them. So what are the
So-
bases?
So was it part of the requirement to recruit them?
Yeah, we've taken all of that into consideration. You have a team of 5 persons for a district, for example, for a block, all right? And you expect that chemistry to work. That somebody know English, somebody know the Mana or Geo, you know. That's a team of 5, okay?
So specifically, you do that now on the issue
And
of.
there will also be interpreters.
So
In that
that's-
town crier, we're gonna be working with them. And
So let's get this clear. Though I know you may not like to disclose whatever you're giving your enumerators and so forth, but some of the issues could come up maybe after this entire census. Which one of the funding given these enumerators that is fixed? Because I know transportation may not be fixed. DSA could be, or whatever it is, could be fixed. Which one is not fixed? Because the fact of the matter, we all may not have the same distances to cover here and there. Or is it just.
so when I say transportation allowance, I mean for the training. So training is going on in Tottenham Hard now. We know that everybody that leave their homes in the morning to come for the training. We'll provide transportation for you. For the main enumeration, we said to you, we're going to be giving them money for motorbike in the block. So between $10 to $20 a day. You understand? Between $10 to $20 a day to have the
For each
motorbike.
person?
Huh?
For each person?
Per
Everyone
person?
else
So
per person?
the number in terms of how many motorbike
Uh-huh.
a team will need,
Uh-huh.
you apply that to the amount.
Because I'm looking at the fact that we want to be sincere here.
Why you can't
And-
disclose the
and-
amount?
and-
I don't understand why you don't want to disclose the amount.
But I just told you it'll be between $10 to $20
10
given the
to-
distance.
Yeah, we agreed. 10
Per
to
person,
20.
you didn't answer that question. Is it per person or the team?
It's gonna be 2 ways. Okay? It's gonna be per person, but that will be determined by the supervisor. because the supervisor is the one filing you in the block. You know which one your member going this way, because you're going to divide the block into, mama, you go north, you go in this side, you go in that. You understand what I'm saying? So if we're taking care of the whole block, for example, and you going right here to exclusive supermarket, when you get the same transportation, the member going pack up people.
No, it doesn't
So
work.
you understand what I'm saying? So that's what
Yeah,
happens.
it's good that you simplify.
Yeah, because that was where.
And then Julius asked a question. I'm not very sure the answers were detailed. I'm concerned about, in a more simplistic term, ahead of the census, so that we prepare ourselves. What do we expect to answer? When the mayor who is the enumerator, the mayor who working with Leisure come to my house, at least we be told those to prepare ourselves on the specific questions that the mayor, who the county mayor will come, the Leisure person will come and ask us. So what will they be asking us, so that ahead of that process, we brace ourselves?
So I summarize that. They're going to be asking for your name. They're going to be asking for your age, what you do, what kind of activities you are involved with, how many persons in the home, who's the household head, how many persons that are going to school, how many persons that are literate or not illiterate, you know, how many persons know how to use a cell phone, for example.
Okay.
I mean, whether you have access to drinking water, whether you have access to electricity, and stuff like that. But that's a good question, because we also have a plan to invite you, the media people, because we have to build your capacity as well, because we depend on you. Today, at the end of before we close, we're going to be officially launching a countdown here together. And we have to commit ourselves to coming, so that we provide that capacity building exercise for those of you in the media, because we depend on you every day going forward to provide this information. Open your line for people across the country to ask the questions and to be able to answer those questions, instead of taking your phone to call the latest communication director, just Harris Page, for example, or the CTA or the project coordinator or Wilmot Smith. You already have those basic information that you just respond in time. And so we're going to ensure that happens. And beyond the census, as a matter of fact, we have a capacity building park on the HISWA project, the harmonizing statistics in West Africa, trying to bring a consistent approach to statistics across the region, so that we can be reporting in similar pattern. And the media has a key role to play in understanding how to convey statistical data. Data has protocol, all right? There are some data that are not for the public use. All right? You as a media man could have it, but it's not for you to use for the public, Yes. And so, for media people wouldn't understand, they accept they are trained and given the protocol and understand the etiquette. And part of that program, I think you saw that a couple of days ago, we signed an MOA, memorandum of agreement with the University of Liberia, where we just, by January, we'll be sending additional 16 persons. That will bring the number to 31 persons that we're sending from the university to go and do their master, 30 persons doing their master, 1 person doing their PhD, to be able to equip the Institution of Population Studies and the CES program of the year. We intend to do the same for the media people. Short-term program, in media dissemination. Basically tied to statistical, activities, so that you people can help us. Because we're doing a lot of things, and not much is coming to the public.
Okay.
And because sometimes the media people try, but what we want to hear, the way we want them to convey it, we don't get it. And we understand it's not their fault. We have to build their capacity. And so let's begin the collaboration now with the census. So in the end, between now to December, we are sure when we send in the first batch, not only with the media, we've also started to collaborate with the National Statistical System, the various institutions, the Postal Affairs, Transport Ministry, all of the institutions are involved with database, the Elections Commission, the National Police. We are bringing all of them together. We've had 3 working sessions. We have validated the document together. They too will be going for training abroad. Some of them are already benefiting from the self training at the University of Liberia. So we intend to be sending about 375 persons at the end of the exercise in terms of gaining terminal degree and PhD.
Okay, let's go back, and I just want to understand from you the issue and the rationale behind this entire census thing. It talks about apportionment, and of course, legislative seats, taxations, working units, and so forth. Those are very much essential. Now, we may not have the kind of resources for us to apportion legislative seats and as a result of the outcome of the census, but you have to play your role. The rest is left with the authorities to do what they can. And when it comes to apportionment, especially when it comes to legislative seats, people will have to be situated in their respective locales for them to be counted. Because that's how we know the population, then we do the entire apportion in terms of legislative seats. Are you really going to inform these people that it's very essential that they be in their respective counties? Because most of our counties could be overly populated. But again, some of us come here for short term, and then our absence in our real counties where we are domiciled at the time of this census could affect our future interests when it came to apportionment here and there. Don't you think it's very essential that the public is informed that being in your area of interest, your future interest, is very important in these counting processes?
That's a very good question. And that's why the president, who has been very, very supportive, I would throw light on the government direct involvement, even though it's the government project, but to show how involved this president has been to ensure that we achieve the census. The president will be announcing the census night. Census night will be October 23rd. All of the entire country border will be shut down. And so everybody coming to the country will not go out on the census night. Because by the early morning hour of October 24, counting starts. So people have to be stationed. And the enumerators are trained. They're going to be asking questions like I told you. If I came here and I'm talking to Soba, you were 5 in studio here with me, Soba. Abraham, William, Kevin, Julius, and Oliver. But I've come to check, they say, yeah, we're 5, but they are not based here. Abraham is from Freedom FM. Kevin can be found at Prime FM. So the enumerator captured that. And if the enumerator, there's an enumerator assigned to Prime, while Kevin is here. So, we 10 years about Kevin, which will be 10 years down here, he's currently at ERBC. Okay? So, the analysis, that's why in the end,
so you can be in Maserati County and counted for Brown Bassa.
No, if you went somewhere for 2 weeks, 1 week, you're not living there. You're not a resident of that place. There's a difference. A resident that you move there, live to that place for a year. You live in that place for a year. You just pass there. You're talking about the floating population. You just pass there today, and the counting is going on. Yes, you'll be counted. All right, but in terms of whether you are a resident or not, that place, no, you're not a resident.
No, the reason I'm saying this because remember when elections are being conducted, people tend to go back to their respective counties where they have interest. That's where they register to vote because they want that decision to affect them. So in the wake of this census, that's what I'm asking this question.
Yeah, but the
so how do we?
The results, the preliminary results we're going to be releasing sometimes in December will not be about elections. Will be about the population. Mm-hmm. It's the Elections Commission work. That's what they're going to do, voter registration.
No, I'm talking about apportionment. I'm discussing the issue of apportionment because the last time we conducted census was in 2008. As a result of that, you saw us having District 6, this person going this place, here and there. It was as a result of that census. It guided us as to trying to stratify our people politically. So we're not looking at the election now. We're looking at the future of our country because we may not be able to have any census now until after 10 years. So how do we proceed with that? That's what I'm talking about, the importance of people being at respective locations.
So what happened in 2008, the census result will not even apply to the national elections. If it were applied, there will not be political threshold. So what you have after the 2008 census was a compromise from the national legislature. For example, there were counties that could not meet the constituency threshold. Mm-hmm. And so they just had to assign seats to count it. All right? And so we're hoping that the National Elections Commission, that's their role, they have to inform the legislature by January in terms of the data they have that they can use to deal with the issue.
That
of
is why your data
demarcation,
is very essential for the forward march of this
and
country.
stuff
I,
like that.
I
But our data is very essential, but it is the Elections Commission who should be speaking to that.
Okay.
I'm also concerned about how you verified the process of counting with places that the enumerators could claim that they win, but it is most likely that they did not go there.
So I told you we are using geo-reference code. It's not like 2008. We're not using paper process that somebody goes under the tree and just mark, say I interview 50 persons. All right? You have to do the interview and then send. Because the window is like 5 minutes. And after 5 minutes, the app closes, you have to reopen. So our estimated time is that it's believed that within 5 minutes time, you should be able to exhaust the questionnaire. All right? Then you send that information. At the end of the day, before the information comes to central command, the supervisor have to synchronize the data. All right? That's why you have the supervisor and the district officer I told you about. So with the information verified, they have to synchronize it based on the geocode, and then before that information is processed and sent to us at central command. Even when it gets there, that's why the data processing team is there along with the GIS team. Okay? Right now, given the geographic mapping planning exercise, you can give me your house was marked. You can give that code, put in the system, you will see your house.
Why if they did not go to certain places? Is there a medium where we, for example, I, Kelvin, can report that, for example, I'm Kelvin Demi, I live in ABC area, and my house was on the map. Is it possible?
Yeah, sure. So we gonna be bringing up our call center to speed. We have a customer service center. We're gonna be bringing that up to speed very soon. Our lady is gonna be a 24-hour service.
Toll free?
Call free, yeah, toll free.
Toll free.
So our people across the country, because we want feedback, we need every feedback to ensure that collectively we can achieve this milestone.
Now, Mr. Smith, as you are set to begin on October 24, what do you see that could be a challenge for leases?
Well, the low response, we need full cooperation from the Liberian populace. We need our people in the market and everywhere, our mothers, our sisters, our fathers, to understand that this thing is about all of us, and they must partake. They must provide or respond to the questionnaires adequate. The questions that they will ask them, they should respond and provide the right information, so that if we are talking about activities in bombing, people will not call and say, oh, but the thing you're talking about in bombing, and they are talking about another country, this doesn't reflect bombing county.
Okay.
And so, you know that it's like a garbage in, garbage out.
Usually.
If you give us garbage, we will produce garbage. But if our people give us the right information, you will have the best data to inform the policymakers in terms of development planning. All right? And like I said, I need a true light. A lot of people seem to listen. A lot of people seem to. There have been some blame game that, the current government failed, to conduct the census on time, and there was a constitutional breach. I've appreciated those concerns, but from our perspective, those have been unfair statements, because the census is not an overnight activity. It's over 3 years project. All right, you don't have census in 1 year. Nowhere around the world happen. Census is not a fast food, microwave thing that you
Mr. Smith, I want to take a bat at what you just said. Sensor is every 10 years.
Yeah.
So the last time you had a sensor in this country was 2008.
Yeah.
Why didn't you take all of the time along, to plan when you knew that you will have census in 10 years?
Okay, so you agree with what I'm saying? To achieve census in 2018 means that by 2016, the preparatory work should have been in motion.
And we have ledgers, already functioning.
So those, I'm speaking specifically to the office of the president.
Okay.
I'm saying that the president has been unfairly judged.
Okay.
In terms of not honoring the constitutional mandate. I'm saying this government should have been announcing the 2018 census result
Instead of preparing
instead of preparing it.
Okay.
That did not happen because the preparatory work were not in place. Legislators cannot go about implementing or amending in the absence of funding and full cooperation. So by the time of 2016 and 2018, the government was not forthcoming in terms of providing what was needed, all right, to jumpstart the process in terms of recruiting a tax consultant to do the project document. That document has to be done. There's a validation process that go on. Then you do application and recruitment of a CTA. That CTA has to be recruited. Then you begin the application for geographic mapping planner. They have to be recruited, trained, deployed. The mapping exercise have to end. Then you do the pilot phase or pre-test of the census. So you see the various steps. None of those were done. So it's under this regime to avoid the constitutional breach. The first thing the government did under President Weah was to ask the national legislature to issue a joint resolution. And so a joint resolution was issued avoiding a constitutional breach, setting the census date to 2019. When we, 2018, 2019, when we started, just about the time we were about to deploy the geographic mappers, then COVID came. COVID was a major disruption. And so we all had to sit for 1 year. And after the 1 year, when activities started to kick off, we could not just deploy the people into the field because they had sat down for over 1 year and they've gotten rusty. They were forgetting what they learned. So we agreed from our partnership meeting that there was a need to record them and train them. So we had to take them back to Margibi, train them again for the same level of time, pay them again the transportation and stuff, and then before deploying them.
Okay.
And the government signed a co-financing agreement with the UNFPA. Government in that agreement committed to giving $3 million. Government even went above that and provided $3.7 million. And even though the other part of the money is coming from the World Bank, but it's the government who entered into an agreement with the World Bank. That agreement was ratified in the legislature. The $30 million HISWA project is a loan and a grant. So 15 million is grant, 15 million is loan. So you can also see government means that 15 million is also government money. All right. We also want to use this time to thank the Swedish government. They've been involved. They've contributed over. They made a commitment of over 7.8 million. They've contributed over 7 million now to the basket fund. The Irish government, they've given around 550,000. The one UN, the United Nations, 550,000. And ECOWAS Radio. ECOWAS have been very supportive. They've given us a platform, and we are very glad of all of the support we've been receiving, and we are grateful to the president for his leadership.
So I think we'll have to give you the time, Mr. Smith, to appreciate those who've been assisting you along the way. But my concern is you're going to be giving your data collectors electronic gadgets, right? Are you renting them? There was an issue with the Elections Commission where the gadgets they use, some kind of thermometer stuff, where they said they rented it. The ones you're going to be giving your data collectors, are they paid for by ledgers or you're renting them from an entity?
That's why I was just going. And so the president of Liberia, President Weah, and the chairman of the board of directors, Mr. Samuel D. Toy, the president, was he demonstrated the will. They did the analysis. To get 21,000 tablets will of course are around $5.8 million. These will talk about the power banks. And so Then the loan procurement process and the shipment will cost almost around 6 point something million. And the president has demonstrated a lot of austerity measures for harmonization and felt that there was a need for a cost-saving methodology to be put in place.
Okay.
And so he instructed the board chair. There was a soft cooperation through the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, enter into with the Ghana government, the government of Ghana through the Ghana Statistical Services. We also want to thank the Ghanaian government, and that agreement provides the Ghanaian government to borrow us.
Okay, so we're
So
borrowing.
we're not loaning, we're not paying 1 cent
Mhm.
to borrow us those tablets, and we were tasked with the responsibility of transporting them from Ghana and to Ghana back,
Okay.
and to ensure that
So we'll return them.
So we're
yes,
That means.
we're going to return it in November.
We're borrowing tablets from Ghana,
Yeah.
and we take the tablets back.
Yeah,
Okay.
we just
One would say, one would argue, why not buy the tablet so we can just have it here for ourselves?
So I just gave the analysis. So you're going to spend 6 million plus
Mhm.
to get tablets,
Okay.
and you're not going to use them again
Until 10 years.
10 years, they might be obsolete.
You
Okay.
can't use it for any other purpose with the exception of this
No, what I'm
specific-
saying to use it in mass.
Mhm.
You're not going to have any project alleged that you will use that amount of tablets anymore, except the census. The census is the biggest project. Okay?
Mhm.
So you're going to have them for 10 years.
The Miss Poor.
But
No,
what's the
actually, I don't know.
what's the agreement between you and Ghana in case where you have some of the equipment to get damaged?
Yeah, that's where I was going when he brought that up. So in the event, before those tablets came to Liberia, the Ghanaian Auditing Commission carried on fiscal audit and did a due diligence.
Mhm.
And then they shipped it to us. So the tablet came, as part of the agreement, we were to do our own assessment upon receipt of the tablet. We've done that and send the report back to the Ghanaian government.
Okay.
But in the event, so we had to do the first assessment and show whether all of the 21,000 tablets we received, whether they are in working condition, good working condition.
Mhm. And you
If-
verify that.
If they are not, we send the report. Yeah, there were a few that had issues. We've communicated with them. They are okay with that. In the event, during the enumeration exercise, and after that report, any other thing coming up, if there's a damage, if there's a loss, yes, the government library will have to replace that.
How much are we spending to transport the tablet from Ghana here? Because the reason why we are borrowing is because we don't have up to 6 million to purchase a tablet. So we don't want to have a situation where we'll be spending
$100,000 to $150,000
to transport 21,000 pieces of tablets.
Tablets and power banks to Liberia. So you see how it's very reasonable. I mean, to get the raincoats, rain boots, and backpack, flashlight, the 5 items. Initially, we had to mobilize locally. Now.
Mr. Smith, you are not exact. Between 100 to 150,000, you should be on top of what you're spending to transport tablets to the country.
Well, what I'm saying to you that you need to grab is that the transportation is in twofold. You transport the contract will go. So we
Okay.
spend around 132,000 to bring it to Liberia. All right.
Okay.
In terms of freight payment from Ghana to RIA, you can pay all the taxes.
To include the wrinkles, everything.
No, the tablets.
Only the tablets and the power
Tablet
bank.
and power bank.
Oh.
So it's also possible that the price could be the same or go up. So that's what I'm saying between 100 to 150,000 because prices are not. But what we have in the budget for the shipment of the tablet back to Ghana is 150,000.
Okay.
They could go up because I'm saying it could go up. That's why I was giving the background on the wrinkle and stuff.
Did we borrow the wrinkles?
No, we bought them.
Oh.
I'm saying to transport them.
Mhm.
The idea in Niger was to get them from overseas, to bring them to Liberia. So just the transportation was almost $500,000, it was over 300,000 to bring them by flight.
Okay.
So you see, I'm trying to tell you how the government has been very key in terms of cost saving, and so we are thankful to the government that we have that. Before the situation, because we're also in touch with the Kenyan government.
Mhm.
We are applied there. 11 countries, including Liberia, have applied to borrow their tablets. Okay, I think they sent some to 17 as well. But then there was a situation in Mali the ECOWAS decision to ban the junta in Mali led to the cancellation of their census, the way they conduct their census. So that's how, because some of the talents from Ghana were also going to Mali. So it was a blessing in disguise for us. So we just abandoned the Kenya arrangement and just wrote them back for additional tablets, and they were magnanimous enough to provide the additional 4,000 tablets.
So you are spending 150,000, and somebody is
That's why
concerned.
it's budgeted.
Yeah, somebody is concerned as to whether you're going to be chartering the flight
It has
or.
to be a charter flight.
Okay, all right.
It came with a charter flight, it has to be a charter flight.
Okay, so listeners, you're listening to a special interview with the Acting Director General of LISGIS, that's the Liberia Institute of Statistics and Geo-Information Services, Mr. Wilmot Smith. The interview is about the pending National Housing and Population Census that is slated for October 24. We have journalists from other institutions, Kelvin Deming from Prime FM, Ibrahim Gossan-Wion from Freedom. We have Oliver Khan from is it from Bana?
Freedom.
From Freedom, okay. Or 2% from Freedom. Don't have Julius Jer also from. I know, right? Free people. Don't have Julius Jer from OK FM. So at 11:30, we'll open the lines for you to interact with our studio guests. Now, Mr. Smith, you sound as if you don't have any funding gap.
Well, thank you very much. I'm also the deputy director. I'm the deputy director general for information coordination.
I know.
Yeah. So we have a national steering committee, and the steering committee, as a matter of fact, is meeting tomorrow. I think at like 4 o'clock tomorrow we're having a meeting. It is a steering committee that makes the final decision for all of our activities, and then the partnership meeting, the technical meeting roll out those decisions. But it is the technical committee and the partnership meeting that provide updates for the steering committee. So in our last steering committee meeting on July 4th, we had 3 budget scenarios.
Okay.
And the steering committee endorsed the one over 24.2 million, with a budget gap of 2 million. But with the understanding that once the census date was set, there was a partner, and we are getting information that is coming from our oldest ally, that one of the partners was saying once the census date is set, they were bringing in the 2 million immediately.
Wow.
And so the steering committee, in fact, wrote the president when the Senate took the decision to put the census to March, that they would need to understand from the Senate why they even shifted the date when all of those things were already in place, and the census needed to go on. And that's how the president wrote in response to that communication from the partners to the national legislature that there was a need to return from recess, come back, and set the census date. And so now that all is in place, and that we are going back to the steering committee tomorrow now, we are very confident that the steering committee will pronounce the provision of the additional 2 million. But even in the face of that, there are post-census activities that some of the costs are assigned to.
Okay.
And so all that is needed now to kick off this process on October 24th is well in place.
So with that funding gap you talk about, because there's a huge dependency you're talking about here. You're not too sure as
No,
to
we are
whether
sure.
the gap will be filled.
We are sure.
Here and there.
We are sure.
You sure?
We are sure.
That is
Just
gonna
said,
work.
I
It's
said,
just a combination.
on
You
July
said we are,
4th.
no, you said we are hearing information
No.
that somebody said.
The first thing I said, the steering committee said on July 4th, provided after we did the budget scenario, then they approved the 24.2 million, and said we will provide this 2 million once the census date is set for October. Because not only the 2 million, I told you the Swedish committed over 7.8
We're discussing
million.
the gap. We're
I'm
not
coming.
discussing what's available.
No, part of that gap now, if the census date have moved to March, December, any other day, besides the 2 million that will have been additional cost. Because the partners that have given their money, it starts to a budget year. So if you are to have the census outside their budget year, the time they give for that money, the part of the money should go back to them, they have to replan before even deciding whether to give you the money. So you're going to have a huge void. And so they were clear that the census date will have to be set before they bring that remaining $800,000. And I'm very confident. They were at the TOT. All of the partners have visited the training site. They are very impressed. And there was a condition precedent, in law, that set the census, they will get about money. You didn't set the census, they will not get the money. And the government has played her part. The date is set. The president has issued a proclamation. All right? And so we are confident that coming out of the steering committee tomorrow, that box will be checked.
You have any plan B if at all the box is not checked?
The box will be checked.
Sure of that.
I have a question that just popped in. There are some Liberians who are and will be out of the country during the whole length of the counting process. Is there any provision to factor them in?
Well, the census is about all those that have been a daily work of the country. And so just an election, you were an election, you came for. But like I said to you, if you are relocated from Liberia, we can check you. But if you went out, like I said in the analysis I was making, there will be some information on you, because if we go to a house and say how many persons in this house, they will tell us 10. There's one guy called Julia, but he just gone. He just left to go to Africa. Then you let Abidjan Julius. Or maybe, he ain't gonna live there, but he coming back. So we'll let the call back, and we'll come back. But he will come back, Julia not there. It will show that we went there, and they said there was a Julia chair who went to Africa. That this house got 10 dependents, yeah.
Okay, finally from my end, before we open the lines, do we know the current population as we speak now?
So the current population is put at 4.5 based on the estimate population size, but from the exercise, the geographic mapping exercise, there were EAs estimated. So based on the 2008 result. So for example, in 2008, at the end of the exercise, there were 20 EAs captured. And maybe we say over time now, the population increased. So we have an estimate of 4.5. You do that projection and say maybe the EA now increased from 20 in Gwenku to 25. But from the mapping exercise, all of our estimates had an increment of almost over 100% in almost all the areas.
Okay. It's possible that we're going to claim.
Yes.
The possibilities are there. Finally, before you
yeah.
the lines to interact.
So it's clear that the population have increased.
So, please, I would just like to know this, and as a result of this census, and we always hearing people saying that the education rate, the literacy rate, 85%, blah, blah. How do we gauge that? You people are also responsible for all these statistics.
So, part of the problem, and that's what we're working on, and that's what we're hoping coming out of this census with the capacity building stuff that agencies are going to benefit from. We are hoping now that we have a coordinated data management system. Lagos should be the repository of data management in Liberia. Lagos should be the hub. All right? So all of these data user and data producer, the data producer should be feeding into Lagos. So if LRA data work, it should be feeding into the central bank, which is Lagos. To be feeding all that information, which will validate those information, so that the information that we're releasing to the public for the use by government, by the international partners, by those who are doing research, will be harmonized across the sector. However, as it is, we've been having a disjointed, let me not say disjointed, uncoordinated, data management system. Every ministry or every agency, Everybody doing their own reporting, except for the central bank. The central bank. If you notice, if you see the CPR, they and ladies are we're working together. And that's how it should be. And so we're hoping that coming out of this process, we'll have a
So it's the education ministry that has that data?
yeah, the
That illiteracy rate.
so the education ministry want to do an education survey. They say, "Oh, come to Legis. We develop the framework together. They bring the question in, the issues they want to resolve, the issues they want to see addressed coming out of that survey to bring it to Legis. We develop the framework, okay, and give it back. They say these are the things that need to be done. All right, these are the technicians you need to recruit, and then we go into it together. You see, we said there's a malaria survey going on, is about to get started by the Ministry of Health. Legis conducted a preliminary work for 20 days. We set the framework, we provide a map. That's how it should be. So when Ministry of Health is coming up to produce that result,
That will be backed by
it'll be
Legis.
backed by Legis.
Okay,
Yes, Oliver.
so lastly from my end, and this question is intended to avoid confusion in the field. In Liberia, only Liberian citizens are supposed to vote. Now, who are, legitimate people to be counted? Because there are some guys in the community who, university students, look, the man is a foreigner, you don't count him. He's not in our country, so we want to address that.
We are going to be counting everybody within the building of Liberia.
Okay.
All right? And there will come a time we'll have to disaggregate the data. All right? When you disaggregate the data, when you tell how many female, how many male, the age population, who are foreigners, you have to disaggregate. And there will be thematic reports prepared ahead of the announcement of the provisional results. And so, yes, we are going to be checking every human being. Once you live in Liberia, once you are within the border of Liberia, you'll be checked on during the census.
Okay, so let's open the lines quickly so that we'll have our people to interact with the studio guests. 0776, that's the alternative line, 540987, or better still, 0880514096. Let's take this first call on the line. Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Yes,
Good
sir.
morning to the studio guest. My name is Ishmael Johnson, and I call from Census.
Okay.
I didn't hear the director speaking on the issue when the president took over. He said Liberians will not be speculated into their own economy. Now, who are those Liberians that are involved in terms of bringing those tablets that you just talked about? Thank you.
In terms of bringing what?
In terms of bringing what? Hello?
Those tablets that you talk about are coming from Ghana. There's any Liberian businesses that are involved?
Okay. You got that. He's taking notes. You'll respond. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning.
Yes, sir.
My name is Wilmot from Harper County.
Okay.
Yeah, so I want to say something to your children. So what was the result of the numerator becoming up? I want to ask the director.
Okay. He's taking notes. You'll respond. Let's take this caller. Good morning.
Yeah, someone?
Yes, sir.
This is Pascal David, and let me say thanks to all of the panelists and to the acting chairperson. Well, this is Pascal Davis, and I asked the question because it is this kind of question that we're confronted with as to the exact population of the country. But I just want you to tell us, why is it that people always ask the question and will say the population of a country is approximately. What does that mean? When you say approximately, sometimes we assume that it is not exact. And if it is not exact, what are some of those measures that we intend to put in place to make our population real? Even in other Western countries, is it possible that we're going to have a real number, or it's just a normal phenomenon that no matter what you do, even with all of the system, you will not have the exact number of people living in a particular country? Is it the reason why we always use?
Okay, he's taking note. The acting DG is taking note. He'll respond. Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning, Sobot, and good morning to the consumer Liberian.
Okay.
My name is Abraham Political Modusetu, and I call from the headquarters of the Virgins Bureau on the most talked about this morning.
Okay.
Our all, let me appreciate your heart and panelists from Bureau and radio station beyond EFBC. And thank you for inviting the L14 acting directors from Legis to know the population. I think one of the fundamental stages of the whole exercise is by carrying on awareness, which of course Legis or acting director doing that to the public, because right information at the right time bring out to the public. The essence of this conducting this census is to know the country population and where government intend to carry on development and how we intend to make our country better. Or let me appreciate our development partner by supporting Legis with all of the false information against Legis. Look, I'm encouraging the citizen. It is the time now for to focus and be counted. And lastly, I want to ask the guests in studio. Are you also working closely with the immigration, ensuring that we cannot have people from different countries, including our country, to be counted?
Okay, he's taking note. He will respond to all those concerns. Let's take this other caller. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning, sir.
Yes, good morning, sir.
Thank you, William. Jabi Wuru, people defender.
Okay.
From my end this time around. Let me say thank you, Legis people, all that want the best, because they are far more than that we need to sponsor. So then do everything they can so that we can see that we can go to the stage. Because some people want to help us, but they don't know our number. So all they do is necessary. Let me say thank you ever so much.
Okay, many thanks. Let's take this caller. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning, Slobo, and good morning to the peace-loving people of Liberia. My name is Opi Oni Johnson, and I joined the conversation from the headquarters of the Veterans Bureau in Docomi this morning. Well, let me appreciate Mr. Wilmot Simib, and I also like to appreciate your guest panelists for the conversation this morning. So basically, my attention is drawn to if an enumerator goes in the fee, and for example, that person goes to my house and absolutely nobody is in that house. So if the enumerator decides to use his or her discretion to fill in the data, will it be, because the supervisor that is in the fee might not be everywhere at every time. So how is it possible for the enumerator to fill in the data, especially wherein there has been no issue of supervision, because the supervisor is not at everywhere at every time?
Okay, many thanks. I'll take this call on the line. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning, sir.
Good morning, sir.
My name is Bobby Addison, and I call from a road here.
Okay, Bobby.
Thank you, sir. I have an observation. I hear your guest in studio talk about community radio station. I would love to hear from him. Are they planning to involve the community radio stations into this process? And if involving them into this process, will there be an MOU signed to ensure that they carry this program? Because the people in the community rely on the community radio station, despite having BOBC and other radio stations, but they are blue as they speak that the voice of Hope Radio in Blibo Southern District is really in this program. So I would love to find out from you, will you get in collaboration with the community radio station? Thank you, sir.
Okay, many thanks. Let's take this call on the line. Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, my name is Brian Colley, and good morning to the panelists and the other today guys.
Okay.
Yeah, my concern has to do with as well there's any mechanism put into place, because I can remember 2008 when we went for the census in Bonkan, the most lower form, we encountered a problem where some guys went along with us because they said they wanted to go to the census. But then when we got there, when they saw the river, they could not cross. As well, they have put the end mechanism in place just in case somebody saw an error that they are not able to go, as well they want to maybe fill in that gap.
Okay. Okay, he's taking note. The acting DG is taking note. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning, Mr. Salvador.
Yes, sir.
I want to ask the lady boss in there. We get a lot of our district people, children that on the street, the war children on the street there. What will be part of the identical census that will be taken. Because we get for now, around the country, we get more than 85,000 plus. So what will be part and parcel of the identical or survey.
Okay. Okay, let's take this other caller. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
My name is Andrew Sarketoy, and I do join you from Togo Community School of 14 this morning. Well, let me say thank you to your studio guests, I think that was a Wilmot Smith, and I think they have said almost all that the citizens of Liberia, most especially the public, needs to hear. And what I want to recommend is definition, the issues that have to do with him working along with subcommittee leadership to ensuring that this president becomes effective. I'm speaking from an experience that have to do with two committees a few years back when it comes to the whole enumeration for the COVID-19 red distribution. We observed that the team that was sent within two committees did not work in now with the leadership. So to that effect, at the end of the day, you're going to know that most of the people, especially part of the committee, was not rich. So we hope that while he has said that the team will be ready to work with the leadership, should be said so that most of the people and majority can be counted in all the media process. Thank you.
Many thanks. Let's take calls from this other line quickly. Good morning. Good morning.
Morning,
Yes, sir.
Thank you. I'm Emmanuel Entopa Jr., an associate of the Intellectual Lines of Liberia.
Okay.
I saw you this morning for the Intellectual class of the community. Let me say good morning to all the panelists you have there, and good morning to your students, mostly. Well, purposely, I call in to ask questions and probably a comment. First, let me commend this is for the work they are going to do in the currently enumeration process, which is very vital for our country. I want to ask a question, probably two questions. The first one is, I don't know which of the methods they are going to employ or deploy to do the population census, because I'm aware there are two factors. And my question is basically based on one of the panelists asked a question, whether in the country will be enumerated. And I know about the factor and the issue population and the method where influence to be counted, why they have permanent residents of that area or they have been counted based on where they see at some moment. And the last question is, it's about issue of integrity. You know, we must wait upon it at leaders have been impacted by LCC. How can we trust these guys that the work they're about to carry on, there will not be another way of Maroon and Lawrence, and they're going to start taking that person, you know, and lift that person institute? Can we trust Wilmot Smith while he has been impacted by LCC? Why is it that he cannot go to LCC and clear his name and still working for the government as well as the president? Even though we are in a position where you know.
Many things. I'm sure you made your call already. Let's take this call on the line. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning, brother. My name is Edison Greer. I'm calling from 20th Street.
Okay.
Thank you for the interview with the director and also to your panelists. I just had a question. You talk about breaking into the 1,000 power bank to the country from Ghana on borrow. But I just wanted to know, even when the Liberia government bought those power banks, the Liberia government has said people to keep the power bank for 10 years, like what Ghana is doing, and borrowing the power bank from Ghana, breaking it, they're thinking about the Ghana stuff, Ghana Center, they cannot use it.
Okay.
So what is different there? So
Okay. He's taking note to respond to that. Good morning.
good morning.
Yes, good morning, sir.
Good morning for many listeners across Liberia. And good morning to your colleagues. And also good morning to the director. This is Ochuko. Ochuko.
May gotta go ahead quickly, please.
So, why your colleagues are laughing?
No, go right ahead.
Your name is nice.
So, I think it is important. This sensor is everybody's business. And one of the things that will help us has to do with the information to our people. To sensitize our people to the zero vernacular, the zero traps. I think it is important. And it is also important that people from the zero district town and clan villages be assigned within that place, that they will be able to interact with our people directly. So I want to say bravo to the religious authority for the good work they are doing. I think it is important that every one of us are Liberians stand out on that day or next month to ensure that we can form part of the process, that we can be counted as citizens of our country. Thank you very much.
Many thanks. I'm sure we'll take 3 more calls and I'll go back to our studio guests. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning, Brother Sabaja. This is Abu Shari. I'm calling in from Amakai Kidan Freeway.
Okay.
Mr. Our para, you can very answer question because you are almost 3 or 4 professional journalists, all of us come to your one and you answer all are very interesting. Thank you very much.
That's the reason why you call. Okay, that's okay. Good morning.
Thank you.
Good morning.
Good morning, sir. How are you?
Yes, I'm okay. Go over there quickly.
Okay, this is Abenigo Nidi. I'm calling from Burnett County.
Okay.
You mean you?
Thank you, Kaveh, job for your program, and thank you to your colleagues who came from various media institutions to upgrade the entire interviews. And thank you to your studio girl as well. I want to find out from your studio girl, if a woman is pregnant and doing the conducting of the census, will she and the baby that she's carrying be counted, or only she alone? I want to know from your studio girl.
Okay, you respond to that. Good morning.
Good morning, Sabo.
Yes, sir.
Sabo, this is Mark Doko, and good morning to the panels of journalists here in the studio. Well, I may appreciate Whitmer Smith for the excellent deliberation, especially when he cataloged all of the happenings of Legis. Well, we are excited that the long-awaited census is about to take start in Liberia. But I want to know a specific thing that one of the journalists asked that he did not really answer to my satisfaction. How much money